Om Shanti. We have our first question. It's basically connected to the spouse, where a person, and this must be getting on for nationwide, I should think, where the wife says they're not happy with the husband, or the husband says they're not happy with their wife, and there's this vibration and this energy between them, which is very unhealthy. And throughout that fog, we're trying to communicate with them to actually make them see our point of view, and they're perhaps trying to make us see their point of view. And you can't really make anyone do anything, so we need to have a remedy, a fix for this, so that we don't feel so burdened in our relationships. And much of it's to do with how an attitude is formed towards our spouse and our relatives. So the attitude is already in situ before we actually arrive home very often, and especially in the lockdown situation, is that each other's antennae is picking up the other one. So there's this constant feeding, if you like, that takes place by the antennae of someone else's vibration, and they're picking up my vibrations, almost like there's arguments in the air, because every atmosphere that's created has almost like a memory. It's charged with certain feelings, certain messages are being passed mentally, telepathically, mind to mind. And so by having a better attitude, because it's the attitude that is actually between myself and any person that I'm having an altercation with, and if I improve that attitude, so I'm not actually doing it for them, and I'm not trying to force them, because that's also connected to my attitude to make them understand my point of view. I guess that people have already gone through those angry moments and those shouting and trying to put your case across to the person, and it can be that I'm not listening to them and they're not listening to me. So we need this healthy attitude between one another, so that the attitude is reflect before I actually say anything. There's a better attitude, and I'm feeling lighter, because these things are actually bringing the best out of me. So what happens really is, because we don't know their tests that we're facing, we tend to feel that they're a negative thing. We tend to feel that we're just unlucky with situations and circumstances, but in actual fact they're a test for me to bring out the best. So if I can remember this slogan, that it's a test to bring out my best, and this will start to shape the attitude. Is a test to bring out my best, and then the rest will follow. So it's a test to bring out my best, and the rest will follow, because the rest is your goodness that comes from recognizing it to be a test, recognizing that this person is instrumental in making you return to your very best that you're capable of. And when you don't recognize it to be a test, then you actually are at your worst. So it brings out the worst in someone, where it feels like the burden, and so you'll stop carrying this burden around with you of living with someone like that, where I'm surrounded by these uncooperative people, because it doesn't necessarily just have to be a spouse, it can be an entire household, but a spouse is more intimate, so there's more water gone under the bridge because of that intimate relationship, and as we say, familiarity breeds contempt. So the best thing you can do for yourself and your own spiritual and physical health is by actually creating a better attitude between that person, because basically the attitude is bad. It's been affected time and time again by the history that's taken place between two independent beings with expectations of each other, and not just expectations, but they're actually demands, and you don't really know how you've treated him or her, even though you say you do, because there's a lot of things that have been said in the way that you've said them, and unnecessary things have been said, as in dragging up the history from the past. Try whatever you do to not bring the past events into this single situation. So it's only a single situation without a past. Don't drag the past into it. Don't mention how many times you've mentioned and told them to conform, to reform, to change themselves, but actually it's as if it's the first time. Don't stamp that person that they're like this, they're like that, because you're helping them not to change. You're helping them to actually remain aggressive, because the stamp always does that. As soon as there's this fixture, that's the way your vision is of them from there on out. So try not to stamp, don't say to people they're like this or like that. They're a test to bring out your best, and then the rest will follow. And the rest is things that you haven't developed yet, but that will be developed as a result of that, and you'll end up thanking that person. So really the slogan would be, I am happy with my attitude to my husband. And that's, you're not trying to be happy with your husband, you're trying to be happy with your attitude towards your husband. And it's the attitude really which is your biggest test, rather than the husband. And that's easy because it's about yourself again. When it's about someone else, then you can't do anything. Your hands are tied, you feel helpless and hopeless. But when it's to do with your attitude towards them, what they do with their attitude will change according to my attitude changing, because my attitude is more powerful because it's a positive attitude, and theirs will be a negative attitude because they're not maybe listening to these things of positivity. Positivity is always more powerful than negativity. So, because positivity is connected to who you are and what you are, whereas negativity isn't connected to anything about you. You're a positive being, should be seen in a positive light with a positive attitude. If you can do it with your spouse, you could probably do it with anyone. Okay, so let's do a meditation. And just create the thought of being a positive, enlightened, strong, courageous, a person that's willing to change the attitude, the way they see this person, the vibrations they send to these people in your household are changing as you fill your attitude with lightness, by knowing that it's a test to to bring out your best, to achieve the rest of your capabilities and make you great again. Remember that you are a great soul in a great position to retrieve and achieve your own greatness. Feel great, be great with whatever comes your way. Deal with it and only it with a pure attitude, pure vision, pure vibration that has nothing to do with the past, the history of what's taken place of a negative nature is dead. Let it rest in peace to your positive, wonderful and wondrous state of mind, the result of your beautiful decoration of a divine attitude between two people coming together with goodness, with kindness, with lightness. Let me not stamp anyone in a certain way. Let me not believe in weakness. Om Shanti.